The Galactic Edict. In the heart of the galaxy, among the glittering stars and the endless void, a quiet but monumental decision was made. The Galactic Council, the governing body of countless civilizations, issued a decree that sent shockwaves through the universe. The decision was clear. Humans were now off limits. No species was to harm or engage in conflict with them. For centuries, the Galactic Council had maintained peace among its member races through diplomacy, law, and force when necessary. Countless species had tried to claim dominance, but the Council always maintained order. That is, until today. The announcement of the Galactic Edict, as it was called, left many races confused, others angry, and some simply curious. Commander Zorak, a veteran of countless interstellar campaigns and a respected leader among his kind, sat aboard his ship, reading the message from the Council for the third time. His sharp, reptilian eyes scanned the holographic text as it hovered above his desk, but no matter how many times he read it, the words made no sense. Humans. Zorak muttered under his breath, his clawed fingers tapping the desk impatiently. Why would the Council protect them? The human race was relatively new to the galactic stage. They had only recently discovered faster-than-light travel and had begun to explore the stars. They weren't particularly advanced compared to other species, and their homeworld, Earth, was nothing special. So why this sudden protection? Zorak's second-in-command, Sirak, entered the room, his smooth blue skin reflecting the light of the hologram. Commander, the crew is discussing the edict. They don't understand it either. Why would the Council shield humans? They're not even a threat. Zorak grunted, his tail twitching in frustration. I've been wondering the same thing, Sirak. There's something about humans we don't know. The Council is hiding something. He paused, his gaze turning toward the view of the stars outside his window. But what? Sirak shifted uncomfortably. The Council's orders are clear, Commander. We're to avoid any interaction with humans and keep a safe distance from their territories. Any engagement with them is strictly forbidden. Zorak scoffed. Since when did we start following orders blindly? There's more to this than they're telling us. I want answers. Sirak frowned. Commander, defying the Council is dangerous. If they find out we've disobeyed, it could mean the end of our careers, or worse. Zorak stood, his tall, imposing figure casting a shadow across the room. I've faced worse than the Council's wrath, Sirak. If there's something to be learned about the humans, I intend to find out what it is. Gather the crew. We're going to Earth. The decision was made, and within hours, Zorak's ship, the Horizon, was on a course for Earth, its engines burning with determination. Zorak's mind raced as the ship entered hyperspace. He had fought in countless battles and seen empires rise and fall, but never before had he been so curious about a species like humans. From what little he knew, humans were unpredictable. They were not the strongest, nor the most intelligent race in the galaxy, but they were resilient, adaptable, and most importantly, survivors. Time and again, they had defied the odds and come out victorious, even when defeat seemed certain. Zorak wondered if this resilience was the reason for the edict. Had the Council decided that humans were too dangerous to be trifled with? Or was there something even more mysterious about them? As the ship hurtled through hyperspace, Zorak found himself deep in thought. His people, the Kruvek, had always prided themselves on their strength and tactical prowess. They had conquered worlds, defeated mighty foes, and expanded their influence across the stars. But humans, they were an enigma. And Zorak hated enigmas. Hours later, the Horizon emerged from hyperspace near Earth. The blue and green planet hung in the darkness of space, seemingly peaceful and serene. It didn't look like the home of a species that could terrify the Galactic Council. Yet there it was, untouched and protected by decree. Zorak ordered the ship to maintain a cloaked orbit around the planet. His crew, though anxious, followed his commands without question. They knew better than to challenge him, even when it meant defying the most powerful governing body in the galaxy. "Commander," Sarek said, standing beside him on the bridge, "what do we do now?" Zorak stared at the planet below, his mind racing. "We observe, we learn, and if there's something the Council doesn't want us to know, we'll find it." Sarek hesitated. "And if the Council finds out about this?" Zorak smiled, a sharp, toothy grin. "Then we'll deal with it, just like we've dealt with everything else." As the horizon silently orbited Earth, Zorak knew that his mission had only just begun. Whatever secrets the humans held, he was determined to uncover them. And if the Galactic Council feared them, then there was something worth fearing indeed. Unseen power. The horizon drifted silently above Earth's atmosphere, cloaked from detection by any human technology. Commander Zorak stood on the bridge, staring at the planet below. It seemed so peaceful, so unremarkable, but he knew better than to trust appearances. Something about humans had the Galactic Council spooked, and he was determined to find out what it was. "Commander," Sarek said, his voice low and cautious, "the scans show nothing unusual. Earth appears to be just as primitive as we've always known." Zorak didn't respond immediately. He continued watching the planet as if waiting for it to reveal its secrets. The Council wouldn't issue a galactic edict without reason. There was something they were hiding, something they didn't want the rest of the galaxy to know about humans. "Commander," Sarek repeated. Zorak finally turned away from the view. "Send a recon team. I want them on the ground. We need to observe humans up close." Sarek blinked, surprised. "On Earth?" "Commander, if the Council finds out." Zorak cut him off with a sharp glare. "The Council won't know. We're not here to start a war, Sarek. We're here to gather information." Sarek hesitated but then nodded. "Understood, Commander. I'll prepare the team." Within the hour, a small reconnaissance team was assembled. 3 of Zorak's most trusted soldiers suited up, their advanced gear capable of rendering them invisible to human eyes and technology. They were the best the Kruvak had to offer, skilled in covert operations, and trained for any situation. "Remember," Zorak told them as they prepared to board the shuttle, "we're here to observe. Avoid contact with the humans unless absolutely necessary. I want to know what makes them so special." The team nodded, and within minutes, the shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, gliding silently toward the surface. Zorak watched from the bridge, his mind racing with possibilities. What could the Council be hiding? What made humans so different from the countless other species in the galaxy? On the surface, the team landed in a remote area, deep within one of Earth's vast forests. The location had been chosen carefully to avoid human population centers and ensure their mission remained undetected. The team activated their cloaking devices and began moving silently through the trees. "Commander," one of the soldiers, Reichel, spoke into his communicator. "We're on the ground. No sign of any humans yet." Zorak's voice came through the earpiece. "Good. Proceed with caution. I want a full report on any unusual activity." The team moved cautiously, scanning the area with their advanced sensors. At first, everything seemed normal. The trees rustled in the wind, the air was filled with the sounds of animals, and there was no sign of human presence. But something felt off. "Do you feel that?" Laura, the team's scout, whispered to her companions. "The air, it's strange." Reichel frowned. "It's just a forest. What's strange about it?" Laura shook her head. "I don't know. It's like something's watching us." The third member of the team, Velik, snorted. "You're just paranoid. There's nothing here but trees and animals." But as they moved deeper into the forest, Laura's unease grew. There was something about this place, something she couldn't quite explain. It was as if the very land itself was alive, aware of their presence. Suddenly, the scanners beeped, drawing their attention. "I'm picking up something," Reichel said, his voice tense. "There's a structure ahead, hidden beneath the ground." Zorak's voice came through their communicators. "A structure. Humans don't have underground bases in this area. Reichel nodded, though Zorak couldn't see him. I know, Commander, but the readings are clear. There's something here, something large. The team moved cautiously toward the source of the signal. As they approached, the ground beneath them seemed to hum with energy, a faint vibration that grew stronger with every step. Finally, they reached a small clearing, and there, in the center, was a stone monument, half buried in the earth. "This is it," Laura said, her voice barely a whisper. "This is what we've been looking for." The monument was ancient, covered in strange symbols and markings. It didn't look like anything human-made, and yet it was clearly tied to the planet in some way. "What is this?" Reichel muttered, running his fingers over the symbols. "I've never seen anything like it." Zorak's voice crackled in their ears. "Report. What have you found?" "An ancient structure," Reichel replied. "It doesn't look human, but it's definitely been here for a long time. The energy readings are off the charts." Zorak was silent for a moment, and then his voice came through, firm and commanding. "Get closer. I want a detailed analysis." The team approached the monument cautiously. As they neared it, the humming grew louder, and a strange light began to emanate from the cracks in the stone. "What's happening?" Velik asked, taking a step back. Before anyone could answer, the ground beneath them shook, and the monument began to glow with a blinding light. The energy was overwhelming, and the team stumbled backward, shielding their eyes. "Commander," Reichel shouted into his communicator, "something's happening. The transmission cut off, leaving Zorak in silence. Back on the ship, Zorak's fists clenched as he stared at the dead communication feed. Whatever the team had found, it wasn't just a simple structure. It was something far more dangerous, something powerful. And now he had even more questions. "Commander," Sarek said, his voice filled with concern, "the team's gone silent. What should we do?" Zorak's eyes narrowed. "Prepare another team. We're going down there ourselves." The awakening. Zorak stood in the landing bay, watching as his shuttle was prepped for descent. The silence from the recon team was unnerving, and he knew something had gone terribly wrong. Earth's surface was supposed to be uneventful, a primitive planet, untouched by galactic wars or conflicts. Yet the energy readings from the hidden structure spoke of something ancient and dangerous. "Are you sure about this, Commander?" Sarek asked, standing beside him with a nervous expression. The Council's orders were clear. We're not to interfere with humans, let alone set foot on their planet. Zorak's eyes narrowed as he turned to his second-in-command. "We don't have a choice. That structure is not human, and I intend to find out why it's here. The Council's secrecy is more suspicious than any danger the humans could pose." Sarek sighed but nodded. He knew better than to argue with Zorak when his mind was set. Moments later, they boarded the shuttle, and Zorak took his place in the cockpit. The shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, cutting through the clouds and heading straight for the coordinates where the recon team had last reported in. The vast forest stretched out below them, but there was no sign of human activity, just trees and silence. The landing was smooth, the shuttle settling into the same clearing where the first team had disappeared. As the ramp lowered, Zorak and Sarek stepped out into the cool forest air. Immediately, the tension in the air was palpable. It was quiet, too quiet. Not even the birds or animals made a sound. Zorak activated his communicator. "Reichel, Laura, Velik, this is Commander Zorak. Do you copy?" "Static." Zorak exchanged a glance with Sarek. "Let's move." The two advanced carefully through the trees, weapons at the ready. Zorak's scanners were picking up faint energy readings, the same kind that had been detected earlier. But now they were stronger, pulsing like a heartbeat. "There," Sarek whispered, pointing ahead. In the clearing, they saw the stone monument. The same ancient structure the recon team had reported, but it had changed. The symbols on its surface glowed faintly, and the air around it shimmered with an ethereal light. The ground was disturbed, and near the base of the monument lay the gear of the missing team, scattered as if abandoned in a hurry. They didn't even get a chance to report, Zorak muttered, kneeling to inspect the gear. Where are they? Sarek moved closer to the monument, scanning it with his handheld device. The energy readings are off the charts. This thing is waking up. Zorak's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Sarek shook his head, his expression grim. I don't know how else to describe it. This isn't just some ancient ruin. It's alive, in a way. And whatever it's connected to, it's not human. Zorak stood, his gaze fixed on the glowing monument. This is why the Council issued the Galactic Edict, isn't it? They knew this was here. They knew humanity was sitting on top of something dangerous, something beyond their understanding. Before Sarek could respond, a low rumble echoed through the forest. The ground trembled, and the glow from the monument intensified. Zorak raised his weapon, instinctively backing away as the light grew brighter, more blinding. Commander, Sarek shouted, something's coming. The air crackled with energy, and suddenly, the ground beneath the monument split open with a deafening crack. From the fissure, a surge of light shot into the sky, casting eerie shadows across the forest. The monument pulsed with power, and from the depths of the earth, something began to rise. Zorak's heart pounded as he watched in disbelief. Emerging from the ground was a massive figure, humanoid in shape, but clearly not of human origin. Its body was made of metal and stone, ancient runes glowing across its surface. It towered above them, its eyes burning with a strange, otherworldly light. What is that? Sarek gasped, stumbling backward. Zorak didn't have an answer. The figure, whatever it was, seemed to radiate power and purpose. It stood motionless for a moment, as if adjusting to its newfound freedom. Then, without warning, it turned its gaze toward them. Run, Zorak barked, grabbing Sarek by the arm and pulling him back toward the shuttle. The ground shook with every step the massive figure took, its movements slow but deliberate. It was ancient, powerful, and it had awakened. They raced through the trees, the creature following with slow but thunderous steps. Zorak could feel the weight of its presence, as if the air itself had grown heavier. Whatever this thing was, it was not meant to walk among the living. They reached the shuttle, Zorak slamming the controls to open the ramp. Get in. Sarek scrambled inside as Zorak turned to face the advancing figure. He raised his weapon, firing a concentrated blast of energy at the creature. The shot struck its chest, but the energy was absorbed by the runes, leaving the creature unfazed. Zorak cursed under his breath and backed into the shuttle as the ramp closed behind him. Take off. Now. The shuttle lifted off just as the massive figure reached the clearing. Zorak watched through the viewport as the creature stood there, staring up at them with its glowing eyes. It didn't pursue. It didn't need to. Its message was clear. We need to report this to the Council, Sarek said, his voice shaky. They need to know what we found. Zorak nodded, though his mind was racing. This wasn't just about the humans anymore. This was about something far older, far more dangerous. And the Council had known all along. Secrets of the Council. The atmosphere in the command room of the Galactic Council was tense. Zorak and Sarek stood before the holographic council members, their faces obscured by shadows. The transmission from their shuttle was secure, but the weight of the information they had gathered made Zorak feel exposed, as if he were standing in a storm without shelter. Councillor Vrax was the first to speak. His voice, low and cold, echoed through the chamber. Commander Zorak, explain yourself. You were not authorized to make contact with the humans, let alone investigate ancient structures. Zorak clenched his fists at his side, but kept his voice steady. With respect, Counselor, the recon team was sent on your orders. They went missing, and I followed the trail. What we found was far beyond anything the humans could be responsible for. Far beyond. Another counselor, a thin figure with a sharp tone, interjected. The humans are not to be underestimated. They have a history of unpredictable behavior, and we do not interfere with them for a reason. Zorak exchanged a quick glance with Sarek before speaking again. This isn't about humans. It's about something ancient, something far older than we realized. The structure we found was a containment, an ancient artifact. It's been there for eons, buried on Earth, and now it's awake. The chamber fell into a moment of uncomfortable silence. Zorak could feel the unease radiating from the council members, despite their attempts to conceal it. Councillor Vrax's voice cut through the stillness. "And what exactly did you find, Commander?" Zorak took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. A massive construct, a being, ancient and powerful. It emerged from the ground after the recon team disappeared. We were lucky to escape. An ancient being. On Earth. Councillor Vrax's tone was filled with disbelief, but there was a trace of something else in it. Fear. "Yes," Zorak continued. "And it wasn't just dormant. It was waiting. The humans may have been unaware of its existence, but it has been there, watching, protecting something. Protecting." Councillor Vrax leaned forward slightly, his holographic image flickering. "What makes you think it was protecting anything?" Sarek, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward. The energy readings were unmistakable. It was not just a weapon. It had purpose. The runes on its body, the symbols, they were of an ancient origin, one that predates the humans by millennia. This was not a human creation. Zorak added, "It responded to our presence, but not in a hostile way. It was as though we were intruding on sacred ground." The councillors exchanged looks, their shadows flickering in the dim light of the chamber. Finally, Vrax spoke again, his voice heavy with caution. "Commander Zorak, what you are describing is troubling. The Council has long kept certain truths hidden from the wider galaxy for a reason. The humans are not just another species. They are tied to something greater, something dangerous." Zorak's eyes narrowed. "You knew." "We suspected," Vrax admitted. "There are artifacts scattered across the galaxy, remnants of an ancient civilization. The Council has kept their existence a secret to maintain order, to prevent panic. The humans, Earth, was once the center of that civilization. We believed their knowledge was lost." Zorak felt a chill run down his spine. "And now it's awakening." Vrax nodded, his expression grim. "It seems so. But this is why the Galactic Edict exists. The humans are not to be interfered with, not out of respect, but out of necessity. Their potential, what they could become if they discover their true origins, would disrupt the balance of power in the galaxy." The weight of the Council's words settled heavily on Zorak. All this time, the humans had been seen as a potential threat, not because of their military power or technological advancements, but because of their forgotten past. And now, that past was stirring. "What are your orders?" Zorak asked, his voice steady but filled with tension. Vrax was silent for a moment, his expression unreadable. "For now, you are to continue monitoring the situation. Do not make further contact with the humans. Do not provoke the ancient entity. We must control the flow of information. If word spreads about this event, it could destabilize the entire galaxy." "And the humans?" Zorak pressed. "What happens when they start noticing? What if they find out about their past?" "That is a risk we are prepared to take," Vrax replied coldly. "We have contingencies in place. For now, you are to report any further developments immediately. The Council will decide the best course of action." The transmission ended abruptly, the holographic Council members flickering out of existence, leaving Zorak and Sarek standing alone in the command room. Sarek let out a long breath, running a hand through his hair. They've been hiding this all along. The Galactic Edict, the secrecy, it was never about protecting the humans. It was about protecting the galaxy from them. Zorak nodded, his mind racing. "We've been in the dark, but not anymore. Whatever that entity is, it's awake now, And the humans, sooner or later, they'll find out. And when they do, Sarek asked quietly. Zorek's expression hardened. We'll be there to witness it. Whatever comes next, the galaxy won't be the same. Zorak didn't hesitate. We intercept. Bring the ship to full alert. We can't let them get anywhere near Earth. As the crew scrambled to follow his orders, Zorak felt the weight of the mission settle heavily on his shoulders. The galaxy's secrets were unraveling at a frightening pace, and Earth was the key to it all. He could only hope that they were ready for what was coming next. Shadows in the void. The ship hummed as Commander Zorak watched the mercenary crafts approach on the view screen. His crew moved efficiently, hands flying over controls as they prepared for an intercept course. The tension in the air was palpable. Each passing second brought the rogue ships closer to Earth, and closer to the secrets Zorak had sworn to protect. Sarek, status report. Zorak barked, his eyes fixed on the flashing blips that represented the incoming mercenaries. Sarek quickly scanned the data in front of him. 3 ships, all armed and moving at high velocity. They're running without transponders, and based on their maneuvering patterns, they're definitely not friendly. Zorak clenched his fists. They know something's on Earth, but not what. If they get any closer, it could trigger a chain of events we can't stop. What's the plan, Commander? Sarek asked, his voice tight with urgency. Zorak glanced around the bridge at his crew, their faces a mix of determination and anxiety. He knew that engaging these ships could risk exposing the very thing they were trying to protect. But letting them reach Earth wasn't an option. We intercept them before they enter Earth's atmosphere, Zorak ordered. Open communications, but keep our weapons hot. I don't want to fight, but if they force our hand. The crew nodded, and the ship shifted course, engines roaring as they closed in on the mercenaries. As they neared, Zorak took a deep breath. Diplomacy wasn't his strong suit, but maybe he could buy them some time. Opening a channel now, sir, Sarek reported. Zorak stood tall, his face hardening as he spoke. Unidentified ships. This is Commander Zorak of the Galactic Reconnaissance Fleet. You are approaching a restricted zone. State your business, or we will be forced to take defensive action. There was a moment of silence on the other end. Then a crackling voice came through the speakers. Commander Zorak, is it? You've got quite the reputation. The voice was smooth, but there was an underlying menace that made Zorak's skin crawl. We're just passing through. No need for hostility. Passing through, Zorak replied, his voice cold. You're approaching Earth, a planet under our protection. I don't believe for a second that your intentions are peaceful. The voice chuckled. Well, Commander, we've got our reasons. Rumor has it there's something valuable on that little blue planet of yours. We're just here to collect. Zorak's heart sank. The mercenaries didn't know the full truth, but they knew enough to be dangerous. He had to end this now, before it escalated. You will not proceed any further, Zorak said firmly. Turn back, or we will engage. There was another pause, and then the voice replied, You're welcome to try, Commander. Zorak's eyes flashed with anger. Sarek, arm all weapons. Target their engines. We'll disable them if we have to. The crew moved swiftly, the hum of the ship growing louder as weapon systems powered up. The tension on the bridge thickened as Zorak prepared for the worst. Suddenly, a blaring alarm filled the room. Commander, Sarek shouted. They're powering up their weapons. Zorak's blood ran cold. Evasive maneuvers. Return fire. Now. The ship lurched as it veered sharply to avoid the first volley of enemy fire. On the view screen, the mercenary ships came alive with blazing energy, firing relentlessly. Zorak's crew fought to counter their attacks, but the mercenaries were fast and ruthless. Shields holding at 70%. Sarek reported, his fingers moving rapidly over the controls. We've got a lock on their lead ship. Fire, Zorak commanded. The ship's cannons roared to life, sending a barrage of plasma bolts toward the nearest mercenary vessel. The enemy ship shook violently as the shots hit their mark, its engines flickering and sputtering. Direct hit, Sirach called out. Their engines are failing. But the other two ships were still fully operational. They broke formation, flanking Zorak's ship and hammering their shields with heavy fire. Shields down to 50%. Another crew member yelled. The ship's sensors began to blare again, but this time it wasn't the mercenaries causing the alarm. "Commander, we've got a new contact on sensors," Sirach reported, his voice filled with confusion. It's massive, and it's coming from Earth." Sirach struggled to make sense of the readings. "It's not a ship, sir. It's energy. Massive energy signatures, like nothing we've seen before. And it's coming from the surface." Before Zorak could respond, the view screen lit up with a bright flash. From the planet below, a beam of pure energy shot into space, engulfing the lead mercenary ship in a blinding light. In an instant, the ship was vaporized, leaving nothing but debris floating in the void. The remaining mercenaries broke off their attack, retreating at full speed. They had no idea what had just happened, and neither did Zorak. "What in the galaxy was that?" Sirach whispered, his eyes wide with shock. Zorak stared at the view screen, his mind racing. The energy had come from Earth, from the very place they were sworn to protect. But how? And more importantly, why now? "I don't know," Zorak said quietly, "but I think we just got a glimpse of what's really hidden on that planet, the hidden power of Earth." As Commander Zorak stood on the bridge, the remnants of the mercenary fleet were nothing but fading blips on the screen. The mysterious energy blast from Earth had changed everything. His crew remained silent, processing the enormity of what they had just witnessed. The once unassuming planet, thought to be merely under the protection of the Galactic Council, now revealed a power that could rival the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Zorak broke the silence. "We need answers," he said, his voice firm. "Sirach, pull up all classified information we have on Earth." Sirach nodded, his hands flying over the console. "I'm already on it, Commander." As Sirach worked, Zorak stared at the image of Earth on the view screen. There was something about the planet that had always felt different. Humans had proven themselves resourceful, resilient, and unpredictable. But this power was something else entirely. Could it be that the humans weren't even aware of it? "Commander, I've found something," Sirach said, his voice a mix of excitement and concern. "There's a file locked behind multiple layers of encryption. It's marked top priority. Eyes only. Council directive." Zorak frowned. "Council directive? Why would they keep information about Earth hidden from us?" Sirach shrugged. "It's hard to say, but from what I can tell, the file dates back hundreds of years, long before humans were even considered for Galactic Council membership." "Open it," Zorak ordered, his curiosity now fully piqued. After a few moments, Sirach managed to bypass the encryption, and the contents of the file appeared on the screen. Zorak scanned the document, his eyes narrowing as he read the lines of text. "Project Genesis, Containment Protocol for Earth. In the event of a planetary activation, all operations must cease immediately. Earth's unique energy signature is not to be disturbed under any circumstances. Unauthorized contact could result in catastrophic consequences." Zorak's heart raced. Planetary activation. What are they talking about? Sirach shook his head, equally baffled. "It seems the Galactic Council has been aware of some kind of dormant power on Earth for centuries. But why keep it a secret?" Before Zorak could respond, the ship's communication system flared to life. A transmission was coming through, an encrypted signal directly from the Galactic Council. "Commander Zorak, this is High Counselor Noran." The stern voice crackled over the speakers. "We have received reports of a disturbance near Earth. You are ordered to stand down and withdraw your fleet immediately." Zorak's jaw clenched. "High Counselor Noran, with all due respect, we've just encountered something extraordinary. There's a power on Earth, something dangerous, and it needs to be investigated. There was a brief pause on the other end, and when Norin spoke again, his voice was colder. Commander, you are not authorized to pursue this matter any further. Return to Council space at once. Do not question the orders. Zorek's fists tightened at his sides. He knew when he was being kept in the dark, and this was one of those times. But defying a direct order from the Council, that could mean the end of his career, or worse. Commander, Sarek said quietly, his eyes filled with concern. What do we do? Zorak took a deep breath. He had a choice to make. Obey the Council and leave Earth's mysteries behind, or take matters into his own hands and uncover the truth. His crew looked to him, waiting for his decision. The crew moved without hesitation. Zorek's command was law to them, and they trusted his instincts. As the ship turned toward Earth, Zorak couldn't help but feel that whatever secrets the planet held, they were worth the risk. Zorek's eyes widened, spread out, across the entire planet. Sarek nodded. Yes, and they're increasing in intensity. If these energy sources activate, we might not be able to stop it. For the first time, Zorak felt a pang of fear. The mystery surrounding Earth was more dangerous than he had anticipated, but he couldn't back down now. Whatever was happening, they were already too deep to turn away.